From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy. The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, if you've missed out the entire offseason, we're going to play a little catch-up for you. Sum everything up and then give our predictions for the upcoming season for Florida State football. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code Corey Clark one time.
Warchant BOGO.
Use it, everybody.
It's game week. It's game week. We're fired up.
Buy one, get one free. Use the promo code. Maybe use the Workout Plus, everybody. As I pointed out, I think maybe in the live show or a show last week, it's crazy, Corey. Like all the things that are in a pre-workout mix, like the powder stuff that gives you like more vascularity and more volume and all that kind of stuff. Most of that stuff's in the Workout Plus shop, which is why it's the number one pre-workout shot out there. Vitamin Energy Workout Plus, berry flavor. Love it. Sour apple, though, that's my fave. I need to give a shout out to the corporate office, see if they can mail me some sour apples. Keep me going. But what gets me going is this football season so close, everybody. Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. Use the promo code FSU1, $1 American, 2 months of full premium access to Warchant.com and the On3 network. If you're going to be in Dublin this coming weekend for the big game, come to the Old Storehouse on Friday, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, Dublin local time. Meet and greet, everybody. Us two, Tom Lang, Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, Gene Williams. We're all going to be there. Significant others as well. Kim Schofel's going to be there. Stephanie Clark's going to be there. Stacey Williams is going to be there. So, no Mrs. Hajavandi, though.
Your Tinder date?
Maybe.
Or your Hinge date?
Who knows?
We don't discriminate.
Yeah. Come on out. It's not a ticketed event. Lots of space, but there's going to be lots of Noles, so show up early. Can't wait to see all your smiling, shining faces. Corey Clark, how are you, man?
Good, buddy. Good. In the effort of true transparency, by the time people are listening to this, you're already in Ireland, right? But I am not.
I think so.
So I think that's how it's going to time out. So either way, we're looking forward to seeing everybody on Friday. Looking forward more than anything for the college football season to start. You know what I mean? Like I was thinking about that the other day. You know, it's easy for me. I'm the king of perspective. But like 3-4 years ago, not just what was going on with the football program, what was going on with the world, and wondering if we'd when and if we'd ever get back to normalcy and live events and everything. And here we are with another college football season ready to start. It warms the cockles.
Yes.
That this thing is back, and we get to enjoy the next 4 months together.
All right, so this show is going to be a little bit of a time capsule, if you will, everybody. I've got a piece of paper and a bunch of questions. I'm going to write all this stuff down. I'm going to fold it. I'm going to put it into my desk drawer, and I'm going to pull it out in December. Hopefully in February, I'll pull it out. And then we'll see how the dust settled on our predictions for the upcoming season. We're going to start on the offensive side of things, though, Corey. If you had to, rank the segments, do you disagree? And we're going to combine tight ends with wide receivers. If you had to rank the segments on the offense, it's offensive line 1, running backs 2, quarterback 3, receivers 4?
Yep, I think that's right.
Okay.
I think that's right. And, yeah, I don't think we could argue with that, right?
I mean, unless you think Malik Benson, but that's the thing. Like, if you think Malik Benson's going to go off, well, then DJ's probably going to have a pretty good year. So I would still probably put.
I would think maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it all works out. I think there's a chance if DJ has a really good year, obviously he would jump to the front. But that has to be proven. There's nothing we've seen in the preseason that lets us believe he's going to be a Heisman contender. But at the same time, I had no idea Jordan was going to end up being Jordan just from watching some practices. I thought he was going to be better. I didn't think it was going to look like that once the game started. So no idea what his ceiling with this team would be. It would be awesome if he was if you ask this question again in the start of November, if the quarterback is the number one segment on your offense, you're doing some things. And for all we know, the receivers will be a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. All right, so Florida State ranked or graded out rather at 91.6 overall as a team last year. They were 88.8 in run blocking, 83.2 in pass blocking. So that would be a B, a strong B.
In what? PFI?
Yeah, PFF. PFF's grading.
PFF, sorry, yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, I'm really high on this offensive line. And I know, like, the elite thing is really trite radio talk or whatever, but do you foresee, like, Florida – and I know it's such a really finicky thing, but if they don't grade at a 90, which would be like an A, I mean, I just feel like Florida State out of a 10 scale then, what are you foreseeing this offensive line being on a scale to 10? Like, I really think they're going to be a 9. An 8, I can maybe live with anything. No, the offensive line, not the offensive line.
Okay.
But just because I think that's the best segment by far on that side of the ball. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, if they were anything lower than an 8, I'd be absolutely disappointed. I'd even be a little bit disappointed with an 8. I think they're going to be close to dominant. So I'm going with like a 9.
You know me, I'm glass half empty. I would say let's say last year they were a 5.5.
Okay.
This year I think they'll be a 7.5.
Okay.
I still,
Do you think they were a 5.5 last year?
I do, yeah. I mean,
On a
all
scale
things
of 10?
considered. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I think they were 5.5.
Wow.
Run game was not what you wanted for it, in my opinion. They did not just move people out of the way, no matter who they were playing. It wasn't what it had been the year before. But I would say the 2022 one was like an 8. I don't know what a 10 would be. The 83 Redskins. I don't know what. Sorry, Commanders. But they were the Redskins back then. So the 83 Redskins. 83 Washington football team. I don't know what a 10 would be. The mid-90s Cowboys.
Yeah.
But if we're grading on that curve, I would say the 2022 line was probably an 8.
Okay.
I think this line, if it can be just that.
All right.
You're looking at a pretty significant upgrade, in my opinion. I think it can be better than that. What gives me pause, though, is, your Jeremiah Byers might still be your starting right tackle. I did not think he was special last year. I thought he struggled at times. Then you had where you're putting a lot of stock into, and again, we've seen it up close. We've seen how it works. But Richie Leonard was never a superstar at Florida. He was never great. No. Ferguson transferred from Alabama, where he couldn't get on the field there. And then Keandre Jones was a backup last year mainly, who played some at Auburn. So they're big, they're physical, they certainly look good, and they look good as a collection, like the 5 of them together. The starting 5, what we think will be the starting 5, looks good together, but you're not talking about an influx of incredible NFL talent. You're just hoping these guys, they're a bit bigger, and they all should have their best years. And if they all have their best years, because they're all 23 years old and stronger and smarter than they've ever been when it comes to college football, it should produce a good offensive line.
Some programs, quarterback means more than others. I think Florida State's like one of those top-tier programs where, like, quarterback, it's all about the quarterback. Like, everybody knows a quarterback. Everybody loves a quarterback. It's all about the quarterback. Why have we not talked a lot about DJ? And I feel like we haven't really gotten a lot of questions. I'm like, how has he looked? Like, what hasn't he looked good at? What has he looked good doing? I just feel like there's like a resignation almost to where people are like, I'll be good enough. I'm fine with that. Let's go. And it's Florida State. It's usually like we want to have the brightest, shiniest toy when it comes to our quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is like, he's an unknown, but is he? Like, Florida State fans saw DJ up close. It wasn't just the 2 Clemson games they saw him play against Florida State. If you're a Florida State fan, you're paying attention to Clemson no matter what. So you saw what he looked like. 2021, he was not a good quarterback. He struggled in that game in Death Valley against Florida State. And then 2022, he was a pretty good quarterback. But he's never been great. He's never shown a penchant for, like, almost turning the corner to being great. He's always been pretty good. He'll have some great moments. He'll have some really good days. And then he'll have some pedestrian average and even a couple of bad days here and there. So I think Florida State fans kind of know what they have, which is a bridge. Perhaps a very good bridge, but it's a bridge to something else. He is better than what the alternatives were by a large percentage. I don't foresee him having an All-American type campaign, but I do foresee him being good enough. But you guys understand that he is not going to probably be a Heisman contender. He is not going to look like an All-American. He is going to make enough good plays and enough good reads and checks, which is his real value, honestly, other than the huge arm, is the experience and the knowledge and the IQ. He's going to bring all that to an offense that you hope will mean that it clicks on, it reaches its ceiling to what it can be and wins most of its games. But yeah, I think don't you think it's more like Nobody knows. I mean, sorry, everybody knows. Everybody already has I think a perception of what DJ is. So there aren't a lot of questions about how good does he look, how good is he going to be, because they've seen him. He's been around for 40 games.
And it's a chicken and egg thing too, I guess. Maybe it's more chicken than egg, but I think if he had known commodities out wide, I think there'd be a little bit more buzz too, because I know everybody's, we're talking Malik Benson up a lot, and we'll see how much of it's him being relatively better than everybody else that's on this roster, or him just being relatively better than most everybody in college football. I'm hoping it's more of the latter. But I think that's another part of it too. It's like, you like Kyle Moore, you like the idea of a Kyle Moore, but you really don't know. And then you got Malik Benson, and then a big question mark on the other side of it. So, a lot of the same things that might have been bugaboos for him previously in his career seem to kind of still be at the forefront of what he's working with. But you just hope that he's got a better defense, maybe. Although I know Clemson has some pretty good defenses, but he's got a better offensive coaching staff around him and support around him, at least from an offensive line standpoint. So that makes you feel really good.
And he might look a whole lot different in November than he does the first few games. Yeah. Although, as we've talked about, these first 4 or 5 defenses are going to be the easiest stretch he has. Not the easiest games. Again, let me clarify. Just those are the softest defense Florida State will play in a row, these first 5 games. He should be able to find a rhythm. It's probably not going to look great at times against Georgia Tech, just because it's the season opener. He's in a new offense, weird environment. But you got to figure once he finds his rhythm, he's going to look good. And look, man, the kid that Norvell had at Memphis at 2019,
Brady
he
White,
ain't winning Super Bowl MVPs.
Yeah.
He wasn't a sensational talent, but he was pretty darn good in that offense. And maybe you can get DJ to do something similar.
Okay. All right, let's get to our predictions for the season on the offense. Give me the number for passing touchdowns for DJ Uiagalelei, Corey.
23.
Oh, that's boo. I'm going with 28.
You're going up there. Okay, now, reminder, 28.
This is the whole season, man. We're not doing the 12 game, but everything. When it's all dust
Oh,
settled,
you're talking about the bowl games, too?
Everything.
Okay, well, they're going to play, they're going to play 3 playoff games. So that's, give me, legitimately, let's just do the ACC, up to the ACC championship. So 13 games.
Because this is part of it, man. How far do you see them going? Are guys not going to play a bowl game because it's not going to matter because they're not in a big bowl game? Like, yeah, these are going to your mathematics.
What did I say, 23?
23.
27.
Oh, look at him.
I'm going to give him 4 extra ones.
Go prices.
So I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So I didn't know you were taking into account at least 2 extra games.
I should have said that before we started. That's right. Rules of engagement. I apologize. Who is going to be the leading rusher in terms of yardage? I'm going with Roydell.
Huh. Oh, yes. Okay. Yep, I agree. Very, very, not strongly.
Okay.
But I do agree.
I'm going to add this because I feel like you probably want to do this. I'll add this. All right, who's going to have the all-purpose yards leader?
Well, Lucas if you count kick returns, but Toafili if you don't count kick returns. Well, no.
Kick returns. Okay, yards from scrimmage. How about that?
Yeah, yards from scrimmage.
Toafili for both of us then?
Probably, but then it's like, okay, I foresee Toafili running in the neighborhood of like 500, 600 yards.
Okay.
I see Roydell about 700 yards. So not much difference there, but I also foresee Toafili adding like at least 300 yards receiving.
Okay.
So that gets him to what, 800, 850? Well, for all we know, Malik Benson might have 1,100 yards receiving.
This is true.
So he wins.
This is true.
But I will stick with Toafili.
Okay. I'll go with him as well. Who will be the second leading wide receiver in terms of receptions?
Portier.
All right. I'm going Hakeem Williams.
Okay. All right.
Who's going to play the most snaps on offense?
Darius Washington.
I'm going Maurice.
Okay.
Some people
All right.
call me Maurice. All right. Now, these are real honors that are given out at the end of your banquet for the Florida State football program. I was able to get the list. Who do you think is going to be the most improved player on offense? Who's going to win that award at the end of the season, Corey? I'm going to go with Chris Otto. Andre Otto. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Otto. Andre Otto. I apologize.
I will say.
I mean, Portier's the number 2 wide receiver, right? Yeah.
No. I mean, yeah, that could be an answer because of, but he, the reason he was just hurt last year. Morlock.
Okay, that's good. I like that. I like that one a lot. Who's going to win the Crenshaw Award, which is given to the player on the offense that displays the most heart?
One of the linemen. Do I have to be specific?
Yes.
Maurice.
All right, I'm going to pick.
Who won it last year?
Oh boy, let me see here. I do have all these answers in front of me. But I'm going to have to scroll.
Because if Maurice won it last year, I'm going to pick somebody else.
Meach and Johnny Wilson.
Okay, yeah, Maurice.
Okay. I'm going Darius.
All right.
Who's going to win the Don Powell Unsung Hero Award? The winner of that last year, man, there's a lot. But offensively, it looked like Ja'Kai and Darius.
How about you can't give it to a running back because they're not. They usually get sung. So again, it's got to be a lineman. I will say Keandre Jones.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, who's like not going to get enough love? Does like some dirty stuff, like not that like dirty under the table, but like the gritty stuff that helps you win football games. Is there anybody in in Ron Dugan's segment? I feel like they give some of the receivers love besides Malik Benson. I'm going with Ja'Kai.
Like you're gonna win it 2 times in a row. All right.
Yeah, I mean, just
all right.
Does what he does. Who's going to be the Devon Darling Freshman of the Year on offense?
McCoy.
Yeah, I think that's unanimous. I'm not gonna try to.
But I tell you what, the more I watch them, it's hard to believe. We'll see what it ends up looking like. Again, we know Landon Thomas was limited because Norvell admitted as much, and he's back to full speed. But his full speed isn't more than Amari Williams' full speed, and that kid has been practicing every day, and there is a chance. Because I was thinking about it.
He didn't bite last week on the question, though, Corey. You trying to get him to say something really bold about Amari Williams. He was like, he'll be all right. We'll see.
He did, but he did say he was on the fast track.
Yeah.
That's not something he'll just say, look, he's getting better. He's going to be a part of something. He did say he was on the fast track. But also, like, what if he's just awesome? Like, I don't think it's normal for a kid that, we keep saying he's supposed to be in high school, only had 3 years of high school. I don't know his age. So, again, Some of these kids reclass into the grade they were supposed to be in because they were held back. Not because of grades. It's because parents hold kids back for athletic reasons, which I, frankly, should have done with my son but didn't. But anyway, so he reclassified. But, yeah, he only had 3 years of high school. And then he comes in and isn't here in the spring, right? And then he comes in and has been one of the more eye-popping players in the preseason. As a tight end at a position he didn't even play full-time. Mm-hmm. He came in as a defensive end. There is a chance he's just awesome because I don't think it's normal for him to look like this. Yeah. Even if he is not always going up against your starting linebackers or your starting DNs or secondary. He just makes plays. So Amari Williams might end up being the answer.
Okay. Let me see here. Next one is offensive newcomer.
Because I never read about Kirby I'm sure there were a lot of Brock Bowers stories written, like the legend of Brock Bowers. Like, there's no way they thought he wasn't even the highest recruited tight end of that class that Georgia brought in.
Not even
but he's a big deal. He's 4-star, but he didn't play his senior year of high school. He was from Napa Valley, California.
Yeah.
And he comes to Georgia. Like, how early on in camp did Kirby, was he like rubbing his eyes? Like, what is this? Who is this? What do we see here? That couldn't have been expected. But he came in and just started dominating. There had to be a moment in preseason camp where Kirby Smart is like, what in the actual blank? Why can't we cover this Napa Valley kid? And then he ends up, being one of the best players in Georgia football history. So sometimes it just happens even when you're not expecting it.
Okay, offensive newcomer of the year. Which, by the way, 4 guys won it last year. So
seems like the same thing as offensive freshman of the year.
Well, newcomer is like a transfer. So I'm going to go Richie Leonard.
Yeah. Okay. Malik Benson, then.
The fact that none of us said the quarterback kind of hurts my feelings right now.
He'll win that too, I guess. Man, it is hard in any capacity. I get the context, but to call DJ a newcomer. He's just played so much football. But I get it. Yeah, he's a very good answer too, but Malik is the first one that popped to mind.
Okay. Well, maybe, will DJ Uiagalelei win the Bowden Leadership Award?
Yeah, give it to him. Absolutely. Although Malik's a good leader too. And so's Roy Dell. Both those guys have some real leadership qualities, the kids from Alabama.
Just to give some I mean, these are the guys that won that won the leadership award last year. I mean, so Tatum Bethune, Maurice Smith, Jared Verse, Trey Benson, Johnny Wilson, Jarian Jones. I mean, just shows you like what you lost, like the heart of your team, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, they've got a good culture in place and everything. So I'm going to go with, I'm just going to keep it with Darius. Darius is going to be on there because, I mean, in terms of leadership, I mean, he's between reps. Like when he gets his rep in, all he cares about is coaching up the next guy in line. It's crazy. So I'd be shocked if he doesn't win it. And you know, hopefully they have a good enough season where the quarterback will get it as well. A little bit off the beaten path, offensive scout player of the year. I'm going with Micaiah Danzy.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
The quarterback, Trevor Jackson,
Okay.
is a good choice too, because the looks he can give you when you're going up against all these athletic quarterbacks, and almost every team has one now. But also he can throw the ball too. Like he's a legitimate scholarship-ish quarterback. So but I think Danzy gives you a real different look out there.
Okay. And then I added this one. So this is an Aslan Hudjavandi original. This is not a real official Florida State award. But we've been talking really good about the team, so we're going to do on each side of the ball. Just a potential mulligan, kind of like cut me some slack if I'm wrong about this. And I know I've really talked up the offensive line, and Corey, you kind of jumped the gun on me there at the beginning of the show, though. I love the offensive line, man. Left to right, love them. I do have mild concerns about whether or not Jeremiah Byers has made significant steps. I don't know what Richie Leonard looked like last year at Florida. I know what Keandre Jones looked like last year, man. He's come a ways. I think Maurice is Maurice. Darius is obviously a huge part of the heart and soul of this football team. Jeremiah, that spot is there for him. We'll see if he can take it and hold on to it and play to a higher level. But that's the one thing where it's like, hey, you know, if some things don't go the way they were supposed to, cut me some slack on that one. Is there anything on the offense?
If our man Robert Scott is healthy or healthy enough, it's not a bad backup option, is it?
No.
To have a dude that's played 50-something games or whatever. So, you know, who knows? That's a fair point. I would say the secondary.
No, offensively. Doing it just offensively.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Offensively, I don't know that there is one, because we don't expect
what about Malik Benson? You've put a lot of expectations on him. Like, if he doesn't go for 65 for 900 and 9 touchdowns, I feel like there might be angst in the village.
I hope nobody's expecting him to have like almost 1,000-yard season. I don't think that's a realistic expectation, because that hasn't happened since Norvell got here, and we don't think they're going to be a pass-heavy offense. So I just find it hard to think he would be a disappointment. He could be. I don't see that being something that happens. Maybe the running backs not being quite as dynamic as we say they are. I think when we talk about this running back room, obviously you lost the best of the bunch. None of these guys are Trey Benson. Collectively, it's better than the group you had last year, because you have really, like we just talked about Danzy perhaps being on a scout team. You know, Danzy would play a lot in a lot of schools. And he's good, and he's going to be very good, we think. And he's relegated to I used it right that time, to the scout team. So maybe the running backs don't end up being special. They just maybe they're not even good. They're just pretty good. Because you're talking about Toafili, who we like a lot, but he is an all-purpose type guy. Jalen Lucas is clearly an all-purpose type guy. And then who is it? Roy Dell, Keziah, and Cam Davis behind them or with them. And it's 3 dudes that have done not a whole lot. Roy Dell, I guess, ran for 500, 600 yards last year for Alabama, but that's at Alabama as a primary backup. And in the playoff game, he had 1 carry. So guys that haven't done a lot at the college level are now going to be expected to do a lot at the college level. We just have to see it. It hasn't necessarily been done with them before, besides Toafili.
The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. If I wasn't in Dublin, Ireland, I'd be there watching the game. Go check it out.
Open up at 10 a.m., by the way, Aslan. Make sure people know that 10 a.m. on game day is when Corner Pocket will be opening up. So get there early to get yourself a seat.
Everybody, Corey wanted to let me tell you guys that they're going to be open at 10 o'clock on game day, August 24th, Saturday. Right. So get there.
Thank you for passing along the message.
Before then, though, there's happy hour going on weekdays from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, then a brief respite, and then they open it back up from 11 p.m. till close. And all day Sunday is happy hour at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Can't believe it. Lunch specials as well, Monday through Friday, $8.99 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Take advantage, everybody. Savor the flavors. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Let us know how the Corey tastes, everybody, if it's on the menu when you're there, everybody. All right, let's go to the defensive side of the ball. What is the strongest segment? Rank the segments for me there, Corey. And I don't know, should we break out defensive ends and defensive tackles, or should we include them as a defensive line? And should we count cornerbacks and safeties as the secondary? Let's rank some segments, and let's break them out. I don't want to do outside, inside linebacker, but let's do corners, safeties, linebackers, ends, tackles.
That's good. I would say defensive tackles 1.
Ooh.
Corners 2.
Okay. I'd juxtapose those two, or I'd transpose them.
Yeah, probably. I just got to see it from Marvin. Defensive ends 3.
Okay. Safeties 4.
Safeties 4, I guess. Linebackers 5. Yeah.
And that's a tough one. And I hate to. I'm not trying to say the linebackers are in last place. If Shaheem Brown wasn't here, I'd put linebackers. There'd be a huge gap between 4 and 5. Like, it'd be linebackers and then a huge gap and then safeties. But Shaheem Brown is Shaheem Brown, so he makes up a lot of ground. Didn't mean to twist your wrist and make you jump safeties ahead of linebackers. But I like where they're at linebacker. Maybe almost even more so. I love Shaheem. I don't know about Ashton Barker and Conrad Hussey and whoever else, Devontae Brown. Although he had a good play last week in one of the last practices that we saw where he didn't get a lot of help on the leverage from the linebacker, and he was the last line of defense, and he shot through a gap and made a great tackle in red zone to keep a guy out from scoring. So I'm maybe short thrifting him a little bit, but all right, I won't push back much on that. We do love the defense, obviously. Where do you see them? If I gave you an over-under 28.5 national ranking total defense, do you think they'll be better than that or lower than that, worse than that?
Better than 28.5, yeah.
Love it.
Yep,
all right.
Yep, I think so. And yeah, I think that the strength of the team, I think, honestly, is the defensive line. Not just the starters, but I like safety is a position. Safety and nickel, I'm not over the moon about right now in terms of the secondary. We know what they have at the 2 cornerbacks. Although Cypress is going to give up some plays. He's going to make some plays. A very solid corner. All cornerbacks give up plays, by the way. But he is going to give up some. He is not. They all are. I don't know why I just singled him out. I see him get run by maybe a little bit more than Azarie. So you just hope that he doesn't give up enormous plays, but he'll give up a few. But overall, the experience, the talent, the athleticism of those 2 guys, along with Quindarius, that those 3, if you want to throw him into the mix, because he'll rotate in a lot, that's a really good group. Safety, though, the other safety spot and the nickel spot are still questions for me.
All right, so leading tackler then. Who's going to be the leading tackler on defense? The top 3, by the way, I cheated a little bit. Top 3 tacklers last year were all linebackers. It was Tatum, Kalen, and DJ Lundy, and then Shaheem.
I will say DJ Lundy.
Yeah, I really wanted to say Shaheem, but then when I looked at that, I'm like, golly. And DJ's been a little bit limited, but they're going to be a really good defense. Your safety is usually not your leading tackler, so I'll go with Lundy too as well then. Who's going to have the most TFLs, Corey?
Peyton.
All right, I'll take Marvin Jones Jr.
All right.
I thought you might go Daryl Jackson there.
Nah, it's just hard if the play is to the outside for him to do that.
I'll give you this option. Who's going to lead the team in pass breakups, Azarie or the field?
The field, because it might be Peyton.
Right. Yeah,
and who knows how many? And who knows how many times they're going to challenge Azarie? So I will say the field. I also think those nickels will make some plays. So yeah, but the field.
All right. I'll take you, AZ. You and me, dog. Arr, arr. All right. Most improved player on defense, Corey. Who do you think it's going to be? I think KJ Sampson's going to win it. These are the official Florida State awards that will be given out at the end of the season. These are our predictions on those.
I'm going to say, I guess I'm going to say Nicholson. Part of me is always like Cryer a little bit more, but just judging from what I'm watching in practice, I feel like I don't feel like I think I'm strongly confident that the coaches like Nicholson a little bit more. And he really is good in coverage. Now, again, when you hear us say that he's good in coverage, don't tweet at us the first time he gives up a completion. He is a linebacker. They give up completions. He makes them, usually they have to be hard completions, and sometimes they're bad matchups. But the guy is athletic. He's good in coverage, and he seems to be getting better near the line of scrimmage at reading the proper holes, gaps, and triggering. So I'm going to say Nicholson, from a guy that barely played last year to a guy that I think is going to play a lot.
Okay. I should have done this on the offense, but Corey, I'm not great at producing sometimes. Most improved last year, by the way, was Farmer and Jarian Jones on the defense. So.
Okay. Kevin Noles is an outside chance there.
Ooh. Yeah, I like that. I'm saying with KJ Sampson, though, but I like that. Right. I like that a lot. The Monk Bonasort Award given out to the defensive player who shows the most heart. I mean, it's got to be my boy Shaheem, man. He won it last year.
Yeah.
He won it last year.
Did he win it?
He won it last year. He won it last year, yep. Him and Patrick Payton were your winners.
I'm still going with Shaheem. You're right. He deserves to win it. It won't be renamed in his honor, and it's named after a great Florida State football player from years past in an enormous part of the rebirth of Florida State football in Monk. So it won't be renamed for Shaheem, nor should it. Yeah. But that dude exemplifies what that award is supposed to be about. And it's not just what he does in games. I'm just telling you, there are people that are like born to play football because they love it so much it's like seeping out of their pores. And that dude during practices, whether it's the middle of August or middle of November, is always the same guy. It just seeps out of him how much he loves that sport. Yeah.
The Don Powell Unsung Hero Award on defense. Is this where we put Kevin Noles?
Maybe I'm going to go with Lola Hea.
Ooh, okay, I like that. Good.
I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play a good bit. I definitely think he's going to be in there some on third down obvious passing situations, and I just think he's gonna be that guy.
I want to go really off the board because you pointed this out. I think during the spring. Anytime Adam Fuller has the opportunity to remind us that Omar Graham has been hurt or was hurt last year, he lets us know. So I feel like he really likes him and thinks that maybe he'll make some plays for him. But I'll give Noles some shine. I'll put him in the Unsung Hero Award. Although man, he might be sung. I'm gonna get to that in a little bit. Who's gonna win the Devon Darling Freshman of the Year award for the defense, Corey?
Okay, so true freshman.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Conrad Hussey won it last year.
I don't foresee any of them playing.
I got to pull up the list now almost. I mean, Charles Lester. We're going to give Charles Lester any love?
No, because if I was going to give it to a corner, I'd give it to Ricky Knight.
Oh.
I guess I'll say Ricky Knight.
Okay.
He's been to me, he's been the most impressive of the true freshman defensive backs. And I can't imagine that anybody, the true freshman linemen and linebackers will not play this year. So maybe there's a chance that one of these corners does, and I think Ricky Knight is the best candidate for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna cede that one too because I would not even have thought of that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give you the dub, because that's really the answer.
Could have been KJ Bolden.
Yeah, KJ.
I know you're listening because you're a big Florida State fan. Could have been you, dog.
Allegedly. Defensive newcomer. Which, let me see. I'll give you the
Marvin.
Won that one last year. Braden Fisk and Fentrell Cypress won it last year. Yeah, it's got to be Marvin.
I'm going to say it doesn't have to be, but I feel like Marvin is absolutely the leader in the clubhouse. Again, I like Lolahea. Cam Riley has a chance, maybe.
Yeah.
But Marvin is definitely the leader right now for sure.
Okay. Bowden Leadership Award, defense. Again,
Shaheem.
Yeah. Defensive Scout Player of the Year. I'm going
Ricky
D.D.
Knight,
Holmes.
I guess. You got to go D.D. Holmes. I'm going to go Ricky Knight. Although part of me thinks that by September, Ricky Knight will not be running with the Scouts anymore.
Okay.
But right now, that's my pick. That guy. He already had an interception in Scout team, at least one. He is going to be a good football player at this university.
All right. And then I may be wrong about this Mulligan. Stay off me. I haven't really been too high on this player, but I feel like we've given him a lot of benefit of the doubt that that spot is going to be fine. That kid's going to be good. Don't even worry about it. Set it and forget it. And it comes back to Kevin Noles. We'll see about Earl Little. Earl Little's had good moments. He's also had some uneven moments, dating back to spring when he was a little bit nicked up, and even this fall camp, especially Jarian. I think we took Jarian we took him for granted to a large degree. That nickel spot is something that we really haven't talked a lot about, and we've kind of assumed that it's going to be okay. But it might be okay with Kevin Knowles, but Earl Little, I think maybe let's not put too much hope that we have in our chips on that part of the spinning wheel, if you will.
But I would say people listening to our show, we haven't been effusive in our praise for Earl Little. So it's not like they can give us grief if he ends up not being good. We haven't said he's horrible, but he hasn't been an All-American caliber player at practice. Those are some tough slot guys to cover, and he has issues with it occasionally. So I don't expect him to be, from what I've seen, he hasn't impressed me to the point where I would be stunned. I wouldn't even be stunned if he's not starting. I don't know if he's going to start, but that wouldn't stun me if he doesn't. What would be like our bad, like we built them up and they ended up being great.
You said the secondary when we were doing the segment for the offense.
Maybe Cypress. We kind of point, but I like him, and he played really well. Yeah. He played really well in the spring. He's been good this preseason. He was pretty darn good at the end of last year. He really came on. So no, it's not like I've seen anything that gives me pause about him. Maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe the defense, even though I like them a lot, maybe the defensive tackles don't end up being dominant. They're just pretty good. Which, again, understand, they're not going to each have 100 tackles. They're not going to combine for 29 sacks. That's not that position. They're just, they're space eaters, and they're good at it, and they're going to make plays, and they're going to impact the game, and they're going to force quarterbacks to make throws quickly. But they're not going to have huge numbers. So maybe they're not quite that tandem is maybe not quite as impactful as we project it to be. And the only reason I say that, and again, I think they're going to be good. I'm saying if one thing comes back and isn't what we thought, maybe it's the guy that hasn't played football in 2 years and another guy that's never been asked to be dominant. He's, he played against Braden Fisk. He played with Braden Fisk. He was good. He started. He played with Fabian Lovett. He was good. He started, but he's never been the guy that gets a lot of the attention. I'm talking about Josh Farmer. So maybe now that he's a starter, going to be playing 40, 45 reps a game, perhaps, he doesn't quite end up being the guy that we think he is. But again, I think he will be. I'm just saying that could be something that doesn't end up playing out how we hope.
I'm relatively sure if Adam Smith, the father of economics, was with us today, he would be a fan of Manscaped. Smith, as you all remember, argued things like the invisible hand and, more importantly, specialization, saying that companies are going to grow, hires are going to be made, and they should have defined roles and specialize in one skill. So yeah, you've got some clippers, but they have a role. Manscaped has a more specialized place in a man's grooming arsenal. Some might say a more delicate role, one involving the moneymaker, to bring it back to Adam Smith and economics. How about the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra? It features skin-safe blades and a cordless design, which is kind of clutch. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code WARCHANT at manscaped.com. 20% discount, free shipping. Manscaped.com. Be him and trim. All right, and then last question on the way out here, Corey, as we sit here and talk and project ahead. Obviously, 12-team playoff. Top-ranked conference champions get the automatic spots, the buys. Do you think Florida State is closer to winning a national championship or closer to missing out on the 12-team playoff?
Closer to missing out. I mean, right?
I can't argue. Yeah, I really can't argue against it.
I mean, they could do either, but to win a national championship, I mean, that's from now on through the rest of eternity, it's going to be a miracle, magical season for anyone that does it. Because it's just you're not going to steamroll through these playoffs. There's too many good teams, and the parity is too much. So going 9-3, I think they're much closer, and much more realistic to think they go 9-3 than win 14 games, including beating like Georgia and Ohio State back to back. That seems like a lot to ask of this team this year. Not impossible. Those teams aren't unbeatable. Florida State's good enough to beat anyone in the country. I also think they can lose to 75% of the teams on their schedule if they play badly. And you can't play great every Saturday. So that's, a lot of wiggle room there. A lot of wiggle room there with this season, which was what makes it so exciting, Aslan.
Yeah. All right, we're going to do this. I stole it from my guy, Ryan Rosillo. We'll only do 4 each. We're going to do a playoff draft. So we're each going to draft the team going back and forth. Not snake draft, but just I'll give you the first pick because I'm throwing this on you at the last second. But a team that you think is a lock to make the playoff. You go first, Corey.
Well, I'll go Georgia.
Yeah. I will go Ohio State.
I'll go Texas.
Ooh.
Oh, no, wait, hold on. They're not in the Big 12 anymore.
This is correct. Missed out on that one, huh?
Penn State.
Admit you feel gross at least for saying that.
Of course I do, but I mean, I'm pretty confident they'll be 11th in the country.
I'm going to go with Oregon.
Okay. Then I'll go Texas.
Okay, that's smart. That's smart. Do I want to take? I don't want to take Alabama. I'll go with Utah. I think they'll win the Big 12. So.
Okay, and then this is when I do pick Florida State. Again, I just said I don't think they're certainly not a lock, but somebody from the ACC has to go. I do think as we sit here in August, I think they're the most talented team in the ACC from top to bottom, 1-85, and I think they probably have the best coach in the ACC. And they play Clemson at home, so you can see a route, a pretty easy route for them to get to Charlotte and win in Charlotte. So that's why I'll pick Florida State there.
All right, I'll take my boy Lane in Oxford. I'll take Ole Miss.
Okay, all right. I think that's fair. I feel like I won that draft. I'll be honest with you. I got Georgia and Texas, plus the team we cover, we get paid to talk about. I feel like I did pretty well there.
We can keep going. They went 12.
No, I'm done.
All right, that's a wrap on this one for you, everybody. Thanks for listening and tuning in. I don't know exactly where this falls in our weekly plans for you folks, but shows throughout the week. Please subscribe, download, thumbs up, rate, review, all that kind of stuff. Everything you need is over at warchant.com. Shout out to our guys Ben Spicer and Matt Lasser holding things down in our absences. And don't forget, Friday, August 23rd, Warchant staff meet and greet, Dublin, Ireland, the Old Storehouse, 6 to 9 o'clock local time. 6 to 8 o'clock live Jeff Cameron show will be broadcasting from there. So if you can't be in Dublin, we get it. It's totally cool. Just tune into Warchant TV. Maybe Corey or I will photo bomb, video bomb stuff and peek our heads in there and wave to you guys. Certainly appreciate you listening to this one. He's Corey Maslon. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy.